What is up, crazy fam? Guys, listen up. In today's video, we're going to talk about my favorite Titan solar build for PvP, even after the Titan melee nerf. This is the build that got me top 500 back in the day for Trials of Osiris. This is my favorite solar build in the game, so I'm going to still stay loyal to it, even after the Titan nerf. It still feels amazing. You guys know I absolutely love Teraba and Eye of Soul. And for today's video, I want to go in depth with this build. So we're going to talk about the stats, the mods, everything, the weapons, but on top of that, we're also going to hop into a private match and I'm going to break down every scenario and how to use these weapons, the super, the healing grenade, the barricade, specific PvP environments, so 1v1s, 1v2s. So let's not waste time and hop right into it. First things first, let's break down the weapons. I'm using Eye of Soul with snapshot sights and opening shot, and obviously sweaty confetti because that sound is absolutely next level, and we're combining it with Teraba. The reason I'm doing that is I want to have something at close range, and that is exactly what Teraba provides. And obviously for mid to long range is Eye of Soul. Now a lot of people will be like, but Pip, it's a sniper, what do you mean mid-range? Well, to be honest, once you do get really comfortable with it, you can get some amazing snipes even mid-range with any sniper, and especially Eye of Soul with these perks. The exotic armor piece that I'm going to be using is Peacekeepers. Easy pick since I'm using an SMG. And a lot of people are like, but Pip, why don't you just use Immortal or Ikilos? And I agree, both of those SMGs are way better than Teraba when it comes to its base stats, range. There's not many Terabas around anymore. It's like 99% of the SMGs are like Immortals. But for me personally, I've used it for so long. I have 16,000 kills on Teraba that I really feel comfortable with it. And to be honest, when I was using Immortal, I was kind of struggling with it because this one has considerably more recoil. So when I'm using Immortal, I'm starting to pull down on that analog a bit too much, and I start missing those headshots. So I love my Teraba, and obviously you have Ravenous Beast, which can be a great perk even after the nerf to win those 1v2s and 1v3s, which is a cherry on top. So there's that. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that for this build, the fragments that I used, most of them, not all of them, most of them are there for the stats. Here are all the aspects, mods, everything you guys need to know about this overall setup. You can pause this whenever you want. Pretty much everything that I'm using for this specific build. And guys, this is the build that I use for my trials carries, even when I do double carries. For all the people that don't know, I stream here on YouTube pretty much every day from Friday to Tuesday. I help a lot of people go flawless. So if you want that flawless loot, you know where to find me, and I would love to see every single one of you guys live on stream. Okay, now let's talk about the stats and why I use these specific stats. Obviously, tier 10 resilience. I want that class ability as fast as possible. And then we have max recovery. A lot of people don't run max recovery unless they're a warlock. They say, you know, tier 6 and 7 is fine. Yes, it can be fine, but honestly, the higher it is, the better. And let's say you're in an encounter, you're in a 1v1, 1v2, you need that recovery to kick in as fast as possible, especially now when the Titan melee has been nerfed, which means that you can't just get away for free at all times. You'll use that melee in a specific situation where it's very needed, but then you don't have it right there at all times, right? So in that case, you need that recovery to kick in ASAP, and that's why I love to have max recovery at all times. Then we have tier 5 discipline. This is more than enough for me because I am running a healing grenade. Obviously, if you don't like the healing nades, you can use any other one that you enjoy. We all know that trip mine is very popular in the Crucible, and on top of all of it, we have max intellect. Now listen, this is a huge debate, right? A lot of people are like, you don't need max intellect and so on, but in my experience as a player that helps a lot of people in Trials of Osiris, having that max intellect on any super can win you rounds, because if it's a close game and you're going against a good team, those few seconds will make the difference between winning and losing, and that's just how it is. So why do I like to use this loadout? Well, it's pretty simple. As I said, I have Teraba for that close to mid range, which is a really strong gun, especially when you have Ravenous Beast up. A lot of people, what they do wrong when they're running SMG and a sniper is that they get in the wrong ranges, right? So for example, if somebody's right over there and I'm sliding in here with my SMG and trying to challenge, yeah, it's not gonna be a good day. Most likely you are gonna lose that fight. For example, even if they're using Immortal, a pulse rifle, anything that is decent in this meta, you will lose the fight. So what you want to do in that situation is, instead of trying to fight from here, number one, you can go to this corner, so you have an angle, and always try to play at cover. So if you're fighting over here and you're losing the gunfight, you can just back out like this, and maybe if needed, drop a barricade, recover. That's where the high recovery kicks in, by the way, right? Because if you have low recovery, you're going to be standing here for like 30 seconds and then you're going to get pushed and you're going to die. So that's why I like to run that high recovery on top of everything. Number two, you can slide up here, peek shoot if you know they're to that close quarter, or maybe over here. Or if you know that they are further back, now you can bring out your sniper. Always remember to crouch peek like this. Don't just bot walk like this. Okay, a lot of people do this where they just walk out, then they get shot and they're like, oh my god, that guy doesn't miss a shot. The reality is you literally just zombie walked into a lane. So you do not want to do that. There is a few ways, like you can bait some shots if you want, but remember the melee is nerfed and you're not going to have it up at all times. One of them, as I said, you can crouch peek, but you can also kind of slide in and then get out of there with your melee. I am a tier 2 strength, as you guys can see at the moment. But if I'm being honest, I don't see an issue, man. I just use my melee when I really need it. I just don't spam it at all times now. I haven't really felt like a big difference or a crazy nerf to the point where I'm going to be like, oh, you know what? Titans are unusable. I feel like it was a fair nerf in PvP. I'm just not a big fan of it getting nerfed in PvE, but you know, it is what it is. Now, if you are using a loadout like this, where it's an SMG and a sniper, you gotta get comfortable with just sniping in general, and not only just hard scoping like this, waiting for someone at all times. Sometimes you'll have to challenge without that. So we're talking to like slide snipes or even slide flick shots. So for example, you slide and then boom, you kill someone in this corner. All of these things you will have to master. You're not going to be amazing at it on day one, but the more hours you put into it, the better you will get. If you have a shotgunner pushing you through this angle, you look at the radar, you see him getting close, a lot of people just peek from here and start shooting. The problem with that is if he is over here, he will cover that distance to you extremely fast, pretty much with one slide, and you're dead unless you get like really lucky. But in a meta of Arc Titans, ladies and gents, the chances of you surviving a shotgunner push from this area is very low, pretty much unrealistic. So instead, what you want to be doing is as soon as you identify that person on the map, you want to be creating range. So I look at the radar, I see that he's pushing, I want to be doing this right away and aiming down sights and shooting at the same time. Once again, I look at the radar, he's pushing up, back jump, create some distance, keep hopping back, keep shooting. Just make as much distance between you as possible. That's the only way. Now let's talk about 1v2s and 1v3s, and that is precisely where Teraba shines. What you want to do is you want to try to isolate people into 1v1s. Now the Teraba is good because it kind of acts like Hawkmoon. You don't want to necessarily get over aggressive because you can charge your Teraba if you play it smart. And once again, you got to be in that perfect range. If they're really far off, if they're using a pulse rifle, auto rifle, and you're fighting them from here to over there, you're not really doing much because you're not gaining a lot of energy for Ravenous Beast. So you gotta go from cover to cover. Let's say if somebody moves there, once again, you get to this corner, you have cover, as you guys can see. If you have a ghost already, try to protect the ghost. If not, just try to charge your Ravenous Beast and then get aggressive. A lot of people make a mistake of getting the Ravenous Beast, right? They get Ravenous, they reload right away and just push without putting in much thought. This is a mistake. Instead, what you want to do is, now that you have Ravenous Beast, think about your positioning and how much HP you have. So if you're not full HP, wait for that recovery and then start thinking about positioning, right? What I would do is drop this over here, take a peek. Let's say I don't see anyone there. Maybe they're on the other side of this. I would run into this wall right here to get the momentum. Boom, move to this side. I can either push this or this way if I want to, if I feel that it's safe from the right side. This is when I use my Ravenous Beast, and now I push. And as I said, the reason is simple. You want to be as close as possible to the enemy players when you have Ravenous Beast, and you don't want to waste any of the precious seconds of the perk. That's about it. Let's say I'm in a 1v2. There's somebody that peeks over here. Boom, boom, boom. I take him out. I look at my HP. I'm pretty low, and my next thought is one of two. One, I might drop the barricade to give myself time to recover. In this case, if this is what you're doing, you just literally want to throw the healing nade on the barricade so you get the heal, just as easy as that. And then you can right away re-engage if you see that somebody is going for a res or just challenging you in general. Or the second version is, for example, you take the fight, you win the fight, you turn around right away, You move away as fast as possible. In this case, you heal and then you can re-peek. Now, one thing I would say is that I always try to hold the ghosts. So if I get a kill, I try to make it as uncomfortable as possible for the enemy player to get the res. Because if you think about it, having that ghost there is something that is on your enemy's mind at all time. He is trying to go for that res most of the time. So you can kind of use that as bait. And finally, let's talk about the super, the Burning Maul, a super that has been extremely underrated. A lot of people hop into my streams and they're like, oh, you're using Burning Maul, ha ha ha, why are you doing that? But then they see me use it and they're like, oh, I should try that. And trust me, you should too. This super is extremely powerful, and once you understand how to use it, it's on a completely different level. A lot of people, what they do is this, right? They see somebody's, let's say in this area, there's a huge fight, there's a bubble, whatever. They pop it and then they push in. This is a mistake. The reason this is a mistake is very simple. You're making yourself an easy target. And as long as you're doing that, it doesn't even matter what super you're using, you will get destroyed. You do not want to do that. Let me show you how you want to open up with this super. This is what I like to do. I fly up, shoulder charge, boom, then melee, and then into the attack. Now, you guys probably saw that I use this as a movement ability pretty much. And that's what you should do too. Boom, look how fast that is. Right? You can do this and straight up go into your heavy attack. Also a huge mistake that a lot of people make. Once they pop the super, a lot of the enemy players will start jumping, which is really funny, to avoid your attack. So what happens is the users of Burning Maul will start spamming this like this. You don't want to do this. Just strafe left and right, right? So you're just a bit harder to hit. You can always heal yourself if needed. And then once they're starting to drop down from that jump, that's when you want to hit the ground. And that's about it. This super has crazy amounts of tracking. It's very easy to get kills. It completely counters Bubble and the Well, which are the two dominant supers in this Trials of Osiris meta, because it's zoned. So you'll see a lot of bubbles. You'll see a lot of wells. And that's about it. That's all the things that I really wanted to go over with this build. I hope you guys enjoy these in-depth videos. I'm going to be making more of these on different subclasses. I'm going to be making one for the Void Warlock also, the Arc Warlock. We're also going to be talking about my Bacchus build on the Hunter. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. If you do, slap the like button, subscribe to the channel. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, never forget to share that positive energy all around. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.
Let's go! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I mean, we literally have the best community of all time. Oh! Oh, he got no scoped.